Tottenham winning at home in the Premier League for the first time since the 3rd of November. Manchester United fans waking up this morning with a team in 15th place. Ruben Amorim, however, says there is no time to dwell.
Losing games, losing players, they have to change every day the approach for the game. So it's a challenge that every coach has in his career, and that is what we are feeling in this moment. But we need to focus on the next game, forget the past.
I didn't think there was much between the teams yesterday,
No.
Gabby. Maybe what they needed was somebody, to coach them, to put the ball in the back of the net, Gabby. Gabby, I'm looking at you.
Well, I did do my coaching badges with Ruben Amorim, so if he wants to get in touch...
Has he got your number?
He has, mate. He has got my number. We've done a bit of coaching in Belfast. We've done our badges. So if he wants me to come and help, do a bit of finishing with Hoyland, Xerxes, Garnacho especially, I'd always love to help a massive club like Manchester United. You know what else I was thinking, Jeff? Manchester United are lucky that they're not in a different country, because I tell you, some of the European leagues, you wouldn't be able to go for dinner in the city if you're performing like they are. A club of Manchester United size and fan base, for the players to be 15th in the league, losing at home so regularly. Imagine playing for Napoli or these teams like in Europe. No way you're going out in the city.
Well, I imagine that Manchester United players are keeping their heads down anyway.
I hope so.
At the moment. talkSPORT Sunday Edition host Henry Winter has written on talksport.com saying United are a hard watch at the moment. They lack belief in their manager's system. Henry joins us now. Morning, Henry.
Good morning, Henry.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Gabby. Gabby, I think you might get a game for them at the moment.
This I need 3 months, Jeff. Henry, give me 3 months.
Just explain to me. I mean, you talked about Rasmus Højlund. I mean, he seemed to me, I was there at the game yesterday, and he seemed to spend most of the game with his back to goal when he's actually got the pace to get in behind.
Yep.
So why didn't they unleash that?
It's just so frustrating to watch. You can see why he's only scored 2 goals in 20 Premier League games, can't you, Henry? He doesn't get the chances. Garnacho's got to score that one in the first half. Look like they've got no confidence in front of goal.
But for me, Henry, that was the difference in the two sides. I read your piece, but I thought there was nothing to pick between them. In actual fact, I thought Manchester United had by far the better opportunities. Probably should have won the game, but the 2 goalkeepers affected the game, and the fact that United couldn't put the ball in the net.
Yeah, but I think that they were, I agree with that. I mean, Vicario had a very good game and, made sort of 2 or 3 important saves, 2 in the first half, one in the second half. But if you're actually looking at the best players on the pitch, who could you actually seriously pick from the Manchester United team?
Wow.
From Spurs team, Jed Spence, I think he got player of the match. I thought he was excellent down the left. Bruno Fernandes, just let him run past him. Vicario, as we're talking about. Lucas Bergvall, who was only on for an hour, I thought, with Maddison, I thought he's been fantastic in recent weeks. Stepped up, teenager. Everyone's focusing on the teenagers at Manchester United. Bergvall's been doing it for them. Yeah. Archie Gray's been excellent. Started on the bench. Maddison was terrific as well. Ben Davies will always give you 100% commitment at the back. So I thought this was more of the Ange team, and slightly vindicates his point that when he got certainly half of his injured players back, he's still got important players to come back, Van de Ven and Romero and players like that. But I thought they were the better team, to be honest, Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Gary Neville was having his say, as he always does. He's in a different league from me, as it happens as a co-commentator. That's another point. He said every Tottenham player, bar one, is better than every single Manchester United player if everyone is fit. The one he exempts is Bruno Fernandes. Would you agree?
I mean, how do you actually define that? Do you do it sort of game by game? Do you do it season by season? I think the whole tenor of Manchester United in the 12 years since Sir Alex Ferguson left is well-known players underperforming, whether that's managerial, whether that's tactics, whether that's, as Alan Pardew was alluding to last night, whether it's the sort of the Glazer culture at the club, where it's all about taking money and not what you can put into the club, but what you can take out, which is, we all know, is the sort of, the Glazers' modus operandi, and whether that's has infected the dressing room as well. So, look, they've still got some good players there. I mean, a fit, younger Casemiro will walk into most teams. I mean, he's got 5 Champions League medals. Whenever he gets criticised, his wife goes and takes a picture of their rather extensive trophy cabinet and posts it. So look, they've got good players in there. They're underperforming. I thought what was disappointing yesterday was that Amorim didn't turn to his bench because the first team weren't delivering. So why not give 1 or 2 of the youngsters a chance? Okay, of course you can't throw them all in. That would be unfair. But Manchester United do have a tradition of turning to youth.
Henry, what I couldn't understand watching the game though is that I was watching it with a few friends and they're all saying the same thing. How is Fernandes playing centre midfield with Casemiro, but he's the first one to run out to Spence? When you've got 5 at the back, you've got Xerxes on the right. The tactics look baffling and he has to stop being stubborn, Ruben Amorim. Otherwise, he's going to be in serious trouble.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And I mean, Manchester United's central midfield got sort of overrun. There was no real mobility in there. Bruno Fernandes is best as a 10. If you're going to play the 3-4-2-1 system, play in his best position, which is just off Holm, so pulling the strings there. But of course, he's got Ugarte out, he's got Kobbie Mainoo out. Casemiro, as we know, is not the player of old. So that central midfield, and I think that was a very legitimate point that Gary Neville was making, was that midfield was simply not good enough. But he can point to the injuries. So Manchester United have a call to make. Do they then go through their traditional routine of get rid of the manager? I don't see how that helps. No. I think that you've got to give this manager, a good, bright young manager from Sporting Lisbon. We saw what he did there. You've got to give him time. He hasn't even had a pre-season to work with these players. He's doing something pretty fundamental in changing them from a back 4, wing-based squad to 3-4-2-1. And if he's going to do that and you're going to back him and you believe in him, you have to give him the time. The issue, of course, is with PSR. They don't have the huge resources that Ten Hag was able to have next summer. So it's a difficult juggling act for him.
Yeah, no, you're so right, Henry. I mean, it would be absolutely foolhardy to get rid of the manager at the moment. Quick word on Liverpool. Did you think they looked edgy against Wolves?
Second half, yes. Credit to Wolves. Liverpool didn't have a shot on target in the second half, which is unlike them. But, they've got this mentality. It's not simply all about the sort of beautiful football and Mo Salah's brilliance, which it was again. But you wouldn't bet against them for the title. I mean, I'm doing the maths at the moment. I think they'll do it with 83 points. I think Arsenal, even with Mikel Merino, their new centre-forward from central midfielder from the bench, I still think they don't have enough to catch Liverpool. And they've got this mentality. They've got a good coach. They've got the Footballer of the Year, Player of the Year in Mo Salah. Probably already the votes almost could be cast now. So, no, I would edge it. And when you've got a leader like Virgil van Dijk at the back, he's going to drive them on.
Yes.
Brilliant. Henry, fantastic. Henry. Thank you very much indeed.
Have a great week, guys.
You too,
Thanks,
pal.
you too. I'm sure we'll talk about it later on. My other take from that game, by the way, is that Mateus Cunha, he could be playing for a Champions League side next season.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
He shouldn't be at Wolves.
But Wolves fans are mighty delighted that he is, Gabby.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.